Are you on track with your savings? By the time you're 33, you should have more than just a comfortable cushion, but how much should it really be? Stick around, and I'll show you exactly what you need to aim for to secure your financial future, and it might be less or more than you think. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're nearing 33 or you're already there, you're probably thinking about your finances. Have you ever wondered how much money you should have saved by this age? Well, you're not alone. A lot of people feel lost when it comes to managing their savings. But don't worry, today I'm going to break it down for you in the simplest way possible, so you'll know exactly how much you need and how to get there. Now, why focus on age 33? Well, it's a great milestone to assess your financial health because by this time, you should have established some solid financial habits. And you're not too far from big life changes like getting a mortgage, starting a family, or investing for retirement. So let's figure out the financial goals you should be aiming for. 1. Setting the foundation, emergency fund. Before we dive into how much you should have saved, let's talk about your foundation. First things first, you need an emergency fund. This is the money that should cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses in case something unexpected happens like losing your job, an illness, or a big repair on your car. How much is this? Take a look at your monthly expenses: rent, food, utilities, insurance, etc. Multiply that by 3, and then you'll have a good starting point for your emergency fund. Having this fund gives you peace of mind and lets you avoid going into debt when life throws curveballs. Step 2. Retirement savings. The magic of compound interest next. Let's talk about retirement savings. I know you might think retirement is so far away, but trust me, it's not. The sooner you start saving, the better. Compound interest is your best friend here. The general rule is to aim to have 1 to 2 times your annual salary saved by age 30. By age 33, you should be looking at having 2 times your annual salary saved up. So, for example, if you make $50,000 a year, you should ideally have around $100,000 saved for retirement by 33. If you're not there yet, don't panic. Starting today with even small contributions will make a huge difference in the long run. Step 3. Investment portfolio. Now let's talk about investments. At this point, you should be considering building an investment portfolio, whether it's stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or even real estate. Your money needs to be working for you. How much should you invest? A good target is to have around 10 to 15% of your income going toward investments, if possible. Of course, it depends on your personal financial situation, but the goal here is to make sure your money grows beyond just a savings account. And remember, for paying off debt all right. Now let's talk about something we all know can be a pain: debt. By the time you're 33, it's really important to have your high interest debt under control. Credit card debt, payday loans, and even student loans should be prioritized. If you're in a situation where you're struggling with debt, focus on paying off high-interest loans first. Aim to have 0 credit card debt and a solid plan in place to pay off student loans or other debts. Step 5. Other savings goals. Beyond emergency funds, retirement, and debt, you may have other savings goals, like buying a house, starting a family, or traveling. These things will depend on your personal goals, but it's important to have specific savings targets for each one. One useful tool is setting up separate savings accounts for each of your goals. This way, you can easily track your progress and stay motivated. Ever wondered if you're on track with your finances? How much money should you have by your age? If you're confused about whether you're behind, ahead, or right on track, stick around because today we're breaking it all down step by step, age by age. Let's see if you're truly setting yourself up for success. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into something that might be on everyone's mind. How much money should you really have by each age? Whether you're 25, 35, 45, or even older, knowing where you should be financially can give you direction and peace of mind. In today's video, we'll walk through each stage of life and break down how much you should aim to have saved. Don't worry if you're not quite there yet. This video is all about making sure you know exactly what your goals are moving forward. T1. Early 20s. Laying the foundation all right. Let's start with your 20s. You may just have entered the workforce, but this stage is crucial in building your financial habits. At this point, you might not have a massive income yet, but it's important to start building a strong foundation. Your goal here should be saving at least 10 to 20% of your income, building an emergency fund, and staying out of debt as much as possible. Aim for having at least $1,000 to $5,000 saved by the time you're 25. I know you're probably thinking, that's a lot for a 22-year-old just out of college. But remember, it's all about getting started early so you don't have to play catch up later. Segment 2. Late 20s to early 30s, building and expanding. Now let's talk about your late 20s to early 30s. By this time, you should ideally have a solid financial base. If you haven't already, try to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved up in your emergency fund. On top of that, you should start thinking about retirement savings. Don't panic if you haven't yet. If you're in your 30s, you should aim to have around 1 year's salary saved by age 30. So if you're earning $50,000 a year, try to have about $50,000 saved by age 30. By now, you've probably climbed the career ladder a little bit, and your salary might be higher. This is when you need to focus on big financial goals, like buying a house or investing more in retirement accounts. Your goal by age 35 should be to have at least a year's salary saved. So if you're making $75,000 a year, you want to have $150,000 saved up. This might seem a bit intimidating, but don't worry, if you started saving early and have a good financial plan, you'll get there. It's also a great time to start exploring other investment opportunities like stocks, bonds, or even real estate, so you're diversifying your savings. Now we're talking about your late 30s and early 40s. You've been working for over 10 years, so by now, you should be more comfortable with your finances. By age 40, your goal should be to have at least 3 times your annual salary saved. So if you're earning $100,000, try to have around $300,000 saved by age 40. This is the time to get serious about investing for retirement and maybe even consider financial independence. You should also be thinking about your children's education if that's on the horizon. When you hit your 50s, you need to be focused on building wealth for retirement. The goal should be to have at least 5 times your annual salary saved by age 50. By this point, your retirement savings should be growing faster, especially if you've been contributing to employer-sponsored plans like a 401k. Also, now's the time to take a hard look at any debt you might have left and aim to pay it off. The closer you get to retirement, the more you'll want to reduce financial burdens. Finally, when you hit your 60s, your goal should be to have at least 10 times your annual salary saved for retirement. If you've been diligent with your savings and investments, you should be in a good place to retire comfortably. Just keep in mind that your expenses might change, whether that's medical expenses, traveling, or just lifestyle changes.